When you're dealing with artwork that's been grouped together, you may find the need to go in and edit individual components of a group. If that's the case, you're going to have to utilize something called isolation mode in order to get in and work with those individual pieces of artwork. In this movie, I'll explore isolation mode and how it can help you get control of those individual components. The first thing I'm going to do is zoom in on a piece of artwork. So I'll grab the zoom tool and go right here on this little icon. I'll grab my selection tool and click on it. As you can see, all of these different objects are grouped together. As a matter of fact, I can go up to the object menu and I could ungroup them if I wanted to, but I want them to remain one single object. However, I need to get in and change just a few things. For instance, I might want to change the brush tip or maybe some of the paint splatters that are out here. But how do I do that? They're all grouped together. Well, you can utilize isolation mode to get in and work with these individual pieces. In order to enter isolation mode, it's actually pretty simple. You simply double-click anywhere on the artwork. Once you do that, you're going to notice that everything else on the canvas goes gray. Notice over here, it grays this out, as well as all these other icons. Now, they were gray before, but they're a little lighter gray now. If you're working on a colored piece of artwork, you would see everything would gray out. You'll also notice once you enter isolation mode that you get this little strip going across the top, indicating that you're now working inside of this group. You can also see that you're on this layer, and you can return out of isolation mode by clicking this little arrow here. As you go deeper down the rabbit hole of isolation mode, you'll see breadcrumb links here at the top. You can actually go from group to group to group within isolation mode without ever having to exit, and then finally click the little arrow to get out. You can also exit isolation mode by double-clicking outside of the objects that you're working on. When I double-click, see how that highlighted back to normal and the strip went away across the top? That means I've exited isolation mode, and I can now click on this and it's one solid group again. Let's jump right back into isolation mode and see exactly how to use it. I'll double-click to enter isolation mode, and now you can see I get control over this item, as well as this. Now, what if I wanted to change something like the brush tips? Well, I'll come here and I'll double-click this piece of artwork. It jumps me into isolation mode for this piece of artwork. See how everything else kind of fades out to the background, and this actually comes to the foreground even though it lies behind the paints? Now I have control over this and all of the little individual objects that go with it. So if I want to change the brush tip, I select it. I'll come over and make sure I'm working on the fill color, and then let's say I wanted to change that to black. I'll change it, and there we go. If I want to back out of this isolation mode, I simply come up here and I'll select the parent group. That brings me back out. Then I can select this, double click, and now I can change this brush tip, just like so. And again, I can go back to the breadcrumb links and go back to the containing group. Now let's click on this, let's double click, and now I have control over each individual paint. If I run into another group, I can enter isolation mode for that as well by double clicking. Then let's say I wanted to change the yellow color. I can change that to maybe a brighter shade of yellow. The red, I want that to be a little bit more bright red. The blue, let's make that a little bit more blue. And I'll just go down the line making all these different changes. Now, if I need to get back out to change these, remember I just used my breadcrumbs. And I can change these. If I need to get inside of the group again, double click, make the change. And then again, use my breadcrumb links to step my way back out. If I want to exit isolation mode completely, I'll just step back out using the arrows, or I could have double clicked out there to the side. Now I'll zoom back out. So as you can see, this still maintains its grouping. I can still move and rotate and scale it all as one object, but anytime I need to get in and edit an individual piece of it, I utilize isolation mode. So the next time you're working on a piece of artwork that's grouped together, don't ungroup it for the sake of ungrouping it. Just jump into isolation mode, make your changes, and jump right back out. It's a great way to make sure that you maintain the structure of your document and also maintain full control.